Hello, hello, hello. On this beautiful Sunday, agency vlog number 4. And the topics I want to talk about today are agency mastermind, YouTube consistency, TOFU, top of funnel, and a friend's birthday. Again, these are like vlog videos in which it's more so like me talking to myself. So if you want more valuable and direct to the point and less rambly content, then don't watch these. But yeah, so like the last week, a lot of people have given feedback in over the year, almost said years, but I think it's been maybe the last 12, 18 months, to create some type of community for people that are like deep in the content that gets put out on this channel and allows for greater access to myself. And I think this is a great idea. And it's like a community, mastermind, whatever you want to call it, more of a community than a mastermind, but mastermind is how I'd like it to be. So this will probably launch next week, and this is my vision for it. So only people that actually have income coming in. I don't know what the range is going to be like. It's going to definitely have to be like, look, you have at least a few clients. That's got to be my thing. I think like the minimum, because I don't want this to be a group of people who are also just starting out. So now that we've identified like who is the minimum like ideal person, I think it's people that are doing like 1 to 10K a month. And I think this is because anybody that's doing over 10K a month like could really benefit from this, and that's totally fine, because the way that it's going to be structured is quite simply like a private group in school. So this is school, and instead of it being Agency Enlightened, we would just create another group, and we would call it like, I don't know, we'd come up with a name. And so maybe we'll do 1 call a month, maybe 2, once every 2 weeks. And it'll be a group format call where basically anybody can just come on and ask questions. I haven't yet figured out how dynamic I want to make it in terms of if somebody asks a question, someone else could also chime in and give an answer. I think I'll direct the calls in the sense that like I'll be the host. And if somebody asks a question, that person will like get unmuted or something and then ask their question. If anybody else has good answers or feedback, we can maybe like somebody can put something in the chat, and like let's say John says, hey, I also have good feedback for this particular problem that this person's facing. John can come on and unmute. And I almost would like the structure to be something where it's like, hey, my name is John. I have an agency that does XYZ. We are currently at, 22K in MRR. We're trying to get to 50 or something like this. We've experienced this problem that you're talking about, and here's how we solved it. I want there to be that like level of transparency into where everybody's business is at in terms of their revenue. Because what's really important is that whenever you're learning from people who've like done it. They haven't read about it. They haven't learned about it, heard of it, seen it. They've done it. They've experienced it through and through. And my biggest fear with like creating some free mastermind is like people come into it and then other people, generally speaking, people are very inclined to give free advice and help other people. That's just like the nature of humanity. That's fine. But I am cautious and want to make sure that if we create some type of free group like this, that someone's not getting advice from someone that hasn't actually done it or experienced it through and through. So that's probably going to be one of the rules of the group, is like, don't try to help unless you've truly done it and mastered it and experienced it through and through. So Mastermind, yeah, maybe twice a week or twice a month we'll do a call every 2 weeks, and that'll be the format. There'll be the option to post, which is fine. I don't intend to make any type of crazy, unique, special content in this group aside from the group coaching calls, because I think what's lacking from YouTube is like, yeah, if we do a live stream, I'll just randomly do it whenever I feel like it's convenient. But if you get in this mastermind, you'll know when the calls are happening and you can make sure that you'll attend. Like, you'll know weeks in advance, and we're going to keep it the same times. And then you'll actually be able to connect with myself one-on-one, and hopefully with other people that are on the same pathway as you, that are experiencing the same things as you. And there's benefits to that. So, really excited about this. Probably going to announce like a waiting list here coming up next week. And it's going to be quite a thorough application process. Like, it's not something where you just join. I'm going to ask a lot of questions in the survey process and really do my best to vet people before they join the mastermind. I may even hop on calls, literally, with every single person that gets before I let them in to the mastermind. Just because I don't want to just create some free fucking Facebook group. Pardon my language. But like, man, I cannot stand to see a massive group full of thousands of people and 2% of the people are actually engaging. It's the last thing I want. In fact, we may even create another policy in this group that states that if you're not contributing at all, you get kicked out in like 30 days. And school gives you engagement analytics on who's engaging, which is nice. And there's also a leaderboard. So we may even have like something where, there's prizes handed out to people who are, top of the leaderboard, giving the most value. I'm not sure, but I definitely want ridiculously high engagement and ridiculously high quality, people in the group. And having some type of mastermind like this just requires, like any business, like any agency, intensive vetting and monitoring, of the group. Once the person has been approved to be let in, now they're going to be monitored to see if they're going to be able to stay in, right? We may even do something where like everybody has to present a certain, topic, maybe like once every month or once a quarter, where what were your biggest lessons in this quarter? I don't know. I think that the details will get hammered out as we see who comes through in the application process. Because if it's a lot of agency owners that are doing, $10,000 to $100,000 per month, and it's not people at the 1 to 10 level, that could change things, right? Because typically people doing $1,000 to $10,000 a month are experiencing very different problems than people doing $50,000 a month. So, really excited for this. YouTube. YouTube's one of the best channels, I think, that you could spend time on. LinkedIn and YouTube, I truly think, are like two of the really high top quality channels in terms of content marketing. YouTube I like more personally than LinkedIn because of the half-life effect being much greater. But it's difficult to compare these two platforms. Like, you really can't. I mean, they're so different. And the type of audience that you reach on LinkedIn is vastly different than the audience you reach on YouTube, and the strategy is very different as well. But I believe that YouTube is like one of the greatest channels ever, and the longevity of the content is ridiculous. Not to mention, if you turn on monetization, which for those who are subscribed to this channel, I recently turned it on, only because in the TOS update they had about a year ago, they no longer the creators on YouTube no longer have the rights to basically control the monetization. So even though my monetization was off, it didn't matter. There's still people that can run ads on my channel. And so it's like, well, it wasn't like that before. So monetization was always turned off so that everybody watching the channel could easily just like, watch the videos without having to see ads. By the way, if you see ads, you can just pay like $8 a month for a YouTube membership and not see the ads. That's a thing. I'm happy they do that. It's a good thing to do. Unless you want to do market research and see other people running YouTube ads. But anyways, just monetization turned on, so you get paid to create your content. A decent amount. I think the revenue that this channel will produce this month will be like $100. That kind of blows my mind, to be honest with you, because I've produced a lot of content over the years. And I've never gotten paid for any of it in terms of like directly from the platform that I'm publishing the content on, like countless amounts of posts on Facebook and a lot of posts also on LinkedIn over the years, predominantly I would say Facebook though, and never got paid for any of this. Facebook just doesn't do that. They don't pay you for the content that you put out, but YouTube has done a fantastic job of, building this monetization program. So that's such a small aspect of it. The monetization really is like a cherry on the cake. It doesn't even really matter. The big thing though is just that it's become a massive search engine, and it also shows up in Google. So like if you search for something in Google, my video might show up at the top of the page. Pretty crazy. So like it's almost like SEO in a sense. You're showing up literally in the search results of Google, which is such a crazy second order consequence of just making videos. And the longevity, I cannot explain how ridiculous it is. So I highly am bullish on YouTube. This is why I've really began to invest a lot of time into YouTube now. I'm trying to put out like at least a video a day. See how that goes for a month and then look at the results. It looks like our traffic will maybe double. Definitely increase by about 50% for sure. I'm hoping we can double it. That'd be crazy. But granted, not too crazy because the prior month of data, we're comparing it against maybe posted like twice a week, if that. So YouTube, amazing source for finding ideal customers. Consistency is probably the most important thing though. Like just continually doing it day in, day out, and making sure to try to make the content as valuable as possible. Recently, I had a conversation with somebody who's in Agency Enlightened, and really brought to my awareness, like I could be doing 100 times better with my YouTube, like in terms of video editing, just title tags, split testing, thumbnails, creating lead magnets. A lot of stuff could be done much better. And I've wanted to do this, but I just haven't really put in the time and energy to do it, to make it better. Because one, I don't want to do any of these things like edits or split test thumbnails or any of that stuff, because there's a certain point where it's like, is it really worth it? No, because like I'm also putting time and energy into an agency, but I can hire somebody to help with these things. So that's the plan, is to hopefully make the channel way better, not only in terms of quality of content, but just like the engagement of it. It'll be much more engaging with all of these other things and easier to access and easier to flip through because of things like chapters and yada, yada, yada. So that's really exciting. And again, the main thing though is consistency, because you don't need to do all these other things that I just mentioned. You can still grow a great following and have a good lead source, like, channel that's making you, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month without having to do all those other things. It may take a year for your content, like for the flywheel to like spin long enough, to where, okay, now you're really reaping the rewards. Because think of every video as like a little seed that you plant, or the spider web just gets bigger. I like to think of it as a spider web. So say you have 100 videos, that's like your web. Okay, each video makes the web a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And as that web gets bigger, not only are you getting more traffic in general because you've made more videos talking about different types of subjects, but now you have a wide selection of other videos to go through, which YouTube can then shuffle around and recommend to viewers of a new video that you just published. And so the web just gets like bigger and attracts more people and customers, but it also gets like stickier. And it's like all beautiful because YouTube does this all in its algorithm, and YouTube is Google, and the freaking algorithm is really well done. It's pretty mind blowing. So main thing is consistency. I highly recommend you put time into YouTube. I'm personally all in on it. Not fully, because again, there's those things that I need to get done and do, but in terms of the consistency of putting out a video a day, I do want to test this for a month and then maybe split test 3 really high quality videos a week for a month and see how that compares to a video a day, and just continue to split test and see what is optimal for the growth of the channel. TOFU, top of funnel. This is something kind of known, but like it just, Destiny, my partner, had a really good way of describing it. She was like, hey, in our agency, we do an amazing job of like generating awareness, top of funnel. So like we're speaking all over the place. We're putting out content on LinkedIn. We're generating all this awareness of like our brand, but we're not really doing anything like bofu, like middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And we don't have like beautiful lead magnets or like a beautiful blog with like lots of different, pop-ups or different things where people can opt in. We have a good website, and that's it. And so there's this huge kind of gap where it's just like extreme bottom of funnel. People can go to the website and book a call with us and work with us, or top of funnel, they can follow us on LinkedIn or watch some podcast. We're just missing everything in between, and we really need to like focus on closing that gap and putting some energy into MoFu and BoFu, which I'm really excited about, because also good lesson that I've had, and I've known for some time, is, I haven't managed any Amazon advertising in a long time. And what our agency does is pretty much just Amazon advertising management. I've done some stuff with programmatic, but not the core thing that our revenue, 95% of revenue comes from. I haven't done that. So I'm relearning Amazon advertising right now. I'm going through our internal training program that we're building, and also just plan on getting into putting out more content, kind of like regaining my confidence in Amazon ads. And because I don't want to just start speaking about the subject, like having not known anything about it now that we have this big brand name in the space, because that could be detrimental. It wouldn't be so detrimental if I was just starting out, then whatever, I can make all these mistakes, but I don't want to come out guns blazing and start posting content on Amazon ads like on stuff that we don't even do, or like, all this. I don't want to confuse the market. Destiny has become a thought leader in this space, and so yeah, I just want to like learn the fundamentals, regain my knowledge set, and I plan to do a webinar hopefully this month coming up on the topic of bulk files. I honestly don't know if we'll get it done, just because I really want to make this a really high quality webinar, and it's kind of like pressing for time. Destiny wanted to do it. I think it's this coming week, but I was thinking more so the first week of June, April, May, June. Yeah, first week of June. So anyways, closing that gap, big realization. Now, a friend's birthday. I went to Panama City this week to go see, primarily because I have a good friend there who's like a really successful entrepreneur, also a really high conscious guy. And he said it's his birthday. I was invited. I was like, cool. That's really cool. And I also had to like do some stuff at the bank and law firm and some errands, some terrestrial tasks. And so I was like, perfect timing. I'm just going to go to the city, see him for his birthday, do some terrestrial tasks. And that's great. So anyways, it's just the takeaway I want to put in here is like, I think for like 5+ years, I've never really valued hanging out with people. And when I joined Quantum Mastermind, which is Sam's mastermind, this is the first mastermind I've ever been a part of, I just got so much value out of it. Not even just from like listening to Sam talk, but just from being around other entrepreneurs and talking to them about their businesses and learning things from them. Just literally being in the field of other people, the energetic field. And what you would consider networking. But being part of a mastermind, a group of people who are all doing the same thing and all trying, striving the same goals, but just different markets. But the way they sell their service or the type of business model they're running is all the same. There's so much value in that. And there's also a lot of value in hanging out with really, high-level entrepreneurs, regardless of whatever, niche they're in, or if their business model is completely different. And so that was just reinforced when I went to this friend's birthday, because there's a lot of good people there doing a lot of cool things in all sorts of different spaces, like mindset, crypto, health and wellness, supplements, like lots of different markets, and a lot of almost everybody there was basically an entrepreneur. Really cool. So yeah, there's just huge value in getting around others, surrounding yourself with other people. And this, I feel, is just something that's like, being hammered into my belief system more and more as I do it a bit more. Like doing something like I just did, going to go see a friend at his birthday. I probably would never do that before. But because I was like, okay, he's a really high level entrepreneur, really great guy. I'm probably going to learn a ridiculous amount, and this may not happen next year. So let's do it. Glad I did it. Worth every penny. And that's about it. So a lot of lessons this week. Really good week. I feel really, really stoked about it. I was going to talk about surfing in this vlog, but I kind of talked about environmental optimizations in the last vlog, about moving to this new part of Panama and how much better it is because of the fact that I can really disconnect on like a Sunday. And today's Sunday. And I'm probably going to go surfing after this. And I don't know how to describe the level of like peace that comes from doing this. Just being in the water in general. It's really beautiful, really peaceful, very relaxing. And so if you're living somewhere, I'm just going to reinforce what I talked about in the last vlog. If you're living somewhere where if you take a day off, you can't have a legendary day. Let's say you love snowboarding. Like it's just like something you've loved since you were a child. It brings you so much joy, so much happiness. But you live somewhere where you can't snowboard every day. Maybe you can snowboard 3 months out of the year because that's like the season, 4 months out of the year. That is not ideal. Like you should think long and hard about what really makes you really joyful and live where you can access that source of joy 24/7. Don't try to like make wherever you are good. Because there's that whole saying of like, you have to, I used to have this quote in my mind of like, you should blossom where you're planted. Yeah, it's true in certain contextual scenarios, but not in every scenario. Fuck me, if you have the abundance and the financial resources to be able to live wherever you want, you better find out where your primary sources of joy are and live near those sources. Very simple. Do it. Highly recommend you do it. It's just so easy to get like lost in the habit of being productive in your business and kind of forget that like this personal life thing actually matters. Because whatever, if you're a pretty relentless entrepreneur and you care and you love your work and you work a ridiculous amount, like I do, then you center everything around the work. and then like it's easy to just forget about like the Sunday that you take off once a week, because you might think, okay, I just take this off and I'm just gonna relax and sit on the couch, or like maybe go to a restaurant, hang with some friends, but like you really have to think long and hard about like, what are my primary sources of joy that give me so much happiness? And for me, it's like warm weather, a nice beach with like surfing. If I can just do those things on a day off, I'm so happy. And if I can access that in 2 minutes from leaving my house, like 1 minute, I can't tell you how much happier you'll be. So cheers, food for thought. Much love, everybody. I appreciate anybody that listens to this. It's valuable for me, hopefully valuable for some of you. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Much love.